All right, Dana, pretty incredible night here at the Apex, your first pay-per-view since you brought it back to Vegas. Let's start with Sean O'Malley. What do you make of his performance? And I think I've asked you this before, but he's a star in the making. You did such a great job building Conor McGregor. What's the strategy in building Sean O'Malley at this point?
Yeah, well, tonight was a big night for him, obviously. Big test. And fought a real guy, real veteran of the sport, and he made it look easy. It was a big step in the right direction for O'Malley tonight. So, yeah, we'll see what's next. He looked great.
Yeah. With Conor, you had the luxury of moving around, taking him to Vegas, taking him to his hometown in Dublin. You know, O'Malley doesn't really have that, and plus with the travel restrictions. But I know you don't have it all written out right now, but what do you think in terms of just making sure that this guy gets as big as it looks like he could be?
We're going to face a lot of new challenges over the next several months and possibly a year. I don't know what to think or how to play. I'm just playing every day, day by day, hour by hour. Let's put it that way. It's that crazy. So we're doing something that nobody else is doing right now.
You said prior to tonight, Aljamain Sterling versus Corey Sandhagen, the winner would get a title shot. I got to believe that's pretty safe to say. Aljamain Sterling is the next up in line at 135.
Yeah, well, I told you you guys know we have Jan versus Aldo, and yeah, he will face the winner of that.
Do you have a date officially for that?
We
one
do,
yet?
but I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay. How about Garbrandt? I mean, the guy had lost 3 in a row on a knockout, and then he comes back with one of the best knockouts I think we've seen all year.
Yeah,
what did you make of his performance?
Ever. It's one of the best knockouts ever. If you look at the timing, the position he was in, the time on the clock left, it was one of the coolest knockouts ever you'll ever see, yeah. And it was a vicious one. I mean, it took Asunciao a few minutes before he could even stand up again.
Yep. Yep. And Amanda Nunes, this is a question that you get a lot. You get a dominant champion. She seems to clean out a division. In this case, it seems like she's cleaned out 2 divisions. Are you running out of opponents for Amanda Nunes?
We used to say that about Anderson Silva too. We said it about John Jones and other people too that I can't think of off the top of my head. But yeah, when you end up at GOAT status and one of the best to ever do it in an entire sport, yeah, you start to people start to think that. But the funny thing is that people always pop up. There's always a.
I mean, at this point, Valentina Shevchenko, would she be kind of the first name that would pop in your head? I mean, I look at the bantamweight.
They fought twice, and
yeah.
You know, she's a 125-pounder. She's the queen of that division. You know, I could see Weili get a couple more fights under her belt and fight Valentina before Amanda. Mm-hmm. Amanda's the queen of 2 divisions right now. Mm-hmm. She's the best to ever do it. She's beat everybody, including Valentina twice, and you know, I don't see why you would do a third one of that unless Valentina goes crazy and like, I want this fight.
Yeah. Yeah. This might sound like a question from left field, but what about Kayla Harrison? I mean, she is in the PFL. She's obviously turned a lot of heads. PFL has had some struggles. They're not going to put on any fighs this year.
Yeah.
What would you think about a potential fight between Kayla?
Interesting. I don't know where she thinks she's at in her career, or you know, as far as you know, the level of fighting for a UFC title. But yeah, obviously she's somebody that we're interested in and have been looking at for a while.
I know you've been talking about Jorge Masvidal a lot, but he was on SportsCenter tonight, and just wanted to ask you. You know, I mean, you guys have obviously talked about some of your differences. What is the plan in terms of reconciliation? I mean, what is the plan now in the next few days, weeks, whatever it is? What is your plan with Jorge Masvidal?
Listen, Masvidal has a contract.
Yeah.
I'll explain it to you again. We're in a pandemic right now, and I just told you we're going hour by hour, not even day by day, and you know, no other league has pulled off what we've pulled off. There's no gates, there's no anything, and we were still talking about he's under contract. He just signed a new deal. He has 7 fights left on his new contract. So we tried to negotiate with him, and we couldn't get it done. We have a contract with Masvidal.
Mm-hmm. So as of now, are you kind of treating those negotiations as done? Like you went, you talked to him.
If Masvidal wants to fight, he'll let us know.
Yeah. In the meantime, are you moving on with Gilbert Burns? You're actively moving on with that?
We're moving on.
Okay.
Listen, I put on fights for a living.
Yeah.
And people who want to fight can fight. The beautiful thing about this sport is this isn't like NFL or Major League Baseball or NBA. These guys don't have to do anything. Mm-hmm. They literally don't have to. Mm-hmm. And if they don't want to, they don't have to.
Mm-hmm. One thing that he mentioned in the SportsCenter interview tonight, which is brand new, he said, "Let me out of my contract." You know, When a guy says that, do you take it seriously, and would you ever consider letting him out of his contract?
The dumbest question you literally could ever ask me.
So no, you don't take it seriously?
No, I don't take what seriously? You think I have a contract with the guy where I've honored my contracts. I always honor my contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Never not honored a contract in my life. 20 years of being in this business.
Fair enough. Well, I'll try to ask a smarter one here. Stipe Miocic
Please.
versus Daniel Cormier. It's a fight that we've been talking about for a while.
Does what?
Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier, the trilogy fight in the heavyweight division. Any update on when we might see that fight?
This summer, hopefully. Yeah,
This summer. Okay.
Yeah, and win, lose, or draw, it's probably going to be Cormier's last fight. You know, he wants his fight with Stipe. Stipe wanted the fight with him, and he gave it to him, and it looks like Stipe is going to give him his rematch too. So, yeah.
I'm curious, you guys have been, the UFC has been at the forefront, obviously, of getting sports back. Will the UFC be at the forefront of getting fans back in? Like when you're sitting in the Apex, has any conversation started in terms of, maybe we could figure out a way to get fans in here?
No, we're not even talking about that. I would, if I'm going to bring fans back, it's going to be in an arena selling tickets. We'll be first.
Yeah. And another thing is, in the Apex, this was the first time that you had a title fight in the smaller cage, and I was just curious what you thought. The smaller cage has been, I think, fun. Fans have been reacting to it. It leads to more action. But a title fight, kind of grander, a little bit bigger. What did you think?
It's actually not true. Yeah. My numbers people ran the numbers. It's the same, or the smaller cage is actually a little less than the size of the cage doesn't matter. You would think it would. And I know everybody loves to talk about it, but it's actually not true.
So you like the small cage, though? No plans on changing it. You like title fights in there?
No. You have to have a small cage, and that cage was built for the Palms and the Hard Rock and small venues like that, and this. Yeah. But when you're in an arena, you can't use this cage.
Yeah.
It has a lot of problems. First of all, it's too small. It looks like a little matchbox in the arena, and it's harder to see inside of in a big arena.
Gotcha. Yep. One thing that you might not be aware of, just moments ago, Conor McGregor tweeted that he's retiring. Did you see this?
No, I didn't see it, but Megan O'Leary told me.
Okay. What's your initial thought on Conor McGregor saying he's retired?
Listen, I say it all the time. First of all, let me start here. Let me reiterate. We're in a pandemic, and the world is a really crazy, confusing place right now. And I think that a lot of people are feeling this. Listen, you don't think that I do? You think that what I'm doing right now is easy at all? I mean, there's 3 times a day I throw my hands up and I'm like, I'm done. I'm done with this. So I understand what everybody's going through, And, everybody wants a fight right now. You just said it yourself. We can't move around. We can't go to different arenas. There's a lot of things we can't do. And I think a lot of people are frustrated right now. Frustrated and upset, mad, confused. I think that the world is very emotional, a very emotional place right now. Yeah. And nothing surprises me right now. Nothing surprises me. People have been locked up in their house for 3.5 months. People are walking around wearing masks. There's protesting, there's rioting. There's a lot of craziness going on right now. Yeah. And I just think it's a weird time for a lot of people. And I'll say it again. I told everybody, you don't have to fight. We're not going anywhere. You can retire. You can say, I'm not going to fight. You can do whatever you want right now. Nobody is pressuring anybody to fight. Yep. And if Conor McGregor feels he wants to retire, my feelings about retirement. You should absolutely do it. Yep. And I love Conor. Conor's one of the, there's a handful of people that have made this really fun for me. And he's one of them.
Last thing, Fight Island, everybody's been, wondering about it for weeks. There was a report that came out today that Fight Island is located in Abu Dhabi. What can you say about that report?
I will announce this week where Fight Island is.
With photos, apparently, is what you said.
With photos.
All right.
Photos of infrastructure and lots of details.
Cool. We'll look forward to it next week. Thanks.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.